All right, guys, it looks like it is recording now for us. And yes, we are recording. This is going to be 300 years of fossil fuels in 300 seconds.
It all started with a big bang. Wait, we don't have to go back that far. Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. No, still too far. Try this. It's the Middle Ages. People in Britain run out of firewood, start burning coal, but they use up the coal on the ground. Miners dig deep, coal mines fill with water. Samuel Newcomen invents a coal-burning steam engine to pump out water so miners can keep digging. James Watt makes it practical for other uses. Now we have ingredients for the Industrial Revolution, fossil fuels, and a way to put them to work. All hell breaks loose. Coal miners bog down lugging coal. Rails make it easier. Rails and steam engine combined make a railroad. Michael Faraday makes the first electric motor. Nikola Tesla invents alternating current. Soon utility companies start burning coal to generate electricity. Meanwhile, Edwin Drake drills the first rock oil well in Pennsylvania, and Carl Daimler builds an automobile running on petroleum. Coal tar and oil are turned into industrial chemicals and pharmaceuticals that prolong life, more population growth. The Wright brothers start oil-fueled aviation. Fritz Haber and Karl Bosch make fertilizer from fossil fuels. Fertilizer and oil-powered tractors expand food production, feeding more people. World War I is the first fossil-fueled conflict. Then comes World War II, giving us guided missiles and atom bombs. In between is a Great Depression, partly caused by overproduction. Powered assembly lines make products faster than people need them. Advertising executives invent consumerism to soak up overproduction. It's the 1950s. Advertisers use television to hook new generations of consumers. In the 70s, there's an oil shock. Everyone's shocked to realize how dependent they are on oil. With the energy crisis, the environmental movement is born. But oil prices fall and everyone forgets energy shortages. There's a showdown between market and planned economies. Market wins. Goodbye, evil Soviet empire. Politicians decide the market will solve everything. Personal computers arrive. Globalization takes over when the market notices labor is cheaper in China. Suddenly everyone has a cell phone, but world oil production stalls out. China is now burning half the world's coal to make export products. But where will China get more coal and oil to fuel more growth? Environmental problems everywhere. Rising CO2 levels lead to record heat waves, floods, droughts. Oceans acidify. Topsoil erodes by 25 billion tons a year from industrial agriculture. Ancient forests disappear. Species go extinct at 1,000 times normal rates. Fresh water is scarce or polluted. Oil companies drill in miles of seawater because the easy oil is gone. But a deep water oil platform explodes and fouls the Gulf of Mexico. Manufacturing moves to polluting countries where labor is cheap, while the US becomes a casino. The financial sector is 40% of the economy. But Wall Street is overleveraged. Banks fail, unemployment soars, credit evaporates, the economy is on the verge of collapse. Okay, present time. It's amazing how far we've come in 200 years, just 3 human lifetimes, from the beginning of industrialism till now. But where are we headed? We can't keep doubling human population. We can't keep dumping carbon in the atmosphere. We can't keep ruining topsoil. We can't keep growing population and consumption or basing our economy on depleting fossil fuels. We can't just print more money to solve the debt crisis. It's been an exhilarating ride, but there are limits. No, it's not the end of the world, but we have to do 4 things fast. Learn to live without fossil fuels, adapt to the end of economic growth as we've known it, support 7 billion humans and stabilize population at a sustainable level, and deal with our legacy of environmental destruction. In short, we have to live within nature's budget of renewable resources at rates of natural replenishment. Can we do it? We have no choice. Alternative energy sources are important, but none can fully replace fossil fuels in the time we have. Also, we've designed and built our infrastructure for transport, electricity, and farming to suit oil, coal, and gas. Changing to different energy sources will require us to redesign cities, manufacturing processes, healthcare, and more. We'll also have to rethink some of our cultural values. None of our global problems can be tackled in isolation, and many cannot be fully solved. We have to prepare for business as unusual. Our best goal is resilience, the ability to absorb shocks and keep going. If we do nothing, we still get to a post-carbon future, but it will be bleak. However, if we plan the transition, we can have a world that supports robust communities of healthy, creative people and ecosystems with millions of other species. One way or the other, we're in for the ride of a lifetime. Understand the issues and pitch in. It's all hands on deck.
All right. So let me pull this back here. All right, guys. So this is basically what we got. We're gonna hit an we will get to a no carbon future. It just depends on whether we go easy or we go hard. All right. So minimize this and go back to this. Minimize this and print that last picture. Let's see. Here we go. And 956. Print. Paste anyway. Save, minimize. All right, so we're running out of oil, okay? We are going to have to get to a post-carbon future. That's what he called it. We're going to have to learn to live without the fossil fuels, but it's going to take some doing. And we can either plan for it now by gradually maneuvering over. He said there's the fossil, he said in the video that switching to the wind and all the other stuff right now is not going to, when they made this video, is not going to happen quickly enough before we run out of fossil fuels. We need to be doing it, and we need to be doing it fast. But one of the things that I did want to show you, especially as I said the other day, that there is millions and millions and millions to be made here. I'm trying to get to Schoology here. All right, there's millions and millions and millions to be made here in green energy. And we used to think that, what is this? Sorry, that's better. Okay. I mentioned it some the other day when we were talking about algae and we were talking about water processing. It is very, it will be incredibly easy for some of y'all to make bajillions. Miss Taylor, do you have a question about this?
No, man, I'm
If it's
trying to
just a
finish
random,
the restaurant.
okay, that would have been better through Remind, but yes, you may. All right, so doing the, now I'm distracted. Okay, so in the video today, he was talking about how these fossil fuels are so intertwined in our economics. They have everything to do with how the country's money goes. And if you are at all bent in that way as far as money and business and being a business person and making your bajillions, there are billions of dollars to be made here. What I have for you on Friday is this video called Breakthrough in Renewable Energy. It used to be that at first, when somebody wanted to build a wind farm or somebody wanted to do something green, they used to say it can't be done, or it's not going to be worth it, or you're not going to be able to make any money. But now you can. That's what this video is about what people are doing and how the economics are shifting to make green energy more lucrative for everybody and make it more of a possibility, and what people in other countries are doing that we could model for ourselves. All right, so like I said, I've said this several times, is Miss Gales has a plan for you to make a fortune. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, but you guys can make a fortune. We're fixing to hand the planet over to you. Okay, us old people are all done. Okay, us old people are all done. We've done what we can. We tried. Like, I'm a child of the 70s. I did everything I could. Okay, and I am still continuing to try. Now we're fixing to hand the planet over to you. All right, and there is a lot of money to be made in green energy and in fixing the world. The world is broken. The world needs to be fixed, and they will pay the people who can fix it. And that could be you guys. So this video here from Friday, okay, it's not an assignment, okay, it's not got a worksheet or facts or anything with it. But if you at all are interested in the economics of energy power, this is a great thing to see. Okay, so it's just in there to help. Let me move over to today's work. So as we see that, can I put her hand down? Yeah, I did it. I didn't know I could do that. Okay, because I know she doesn't need me anymore. All right, so we're running out of oil. We're going to hit a post-carbon future, like we said in the video. Whether we like it or not, we're going to hit a post-carbon future. We can do it hard or we can do it easy. So there's 3 things we can do. Do you remember we learned about when we first started discussing this section? We talked about net energy and we talked about subsidies. Net energy is exactly what it sounds like. It takes a lot of energy to make this stuff, and you have to subtract out your costs on the front end from what you think you're going to make and how much energy you provide at the back to figure out your net energy. And we're going to use the net energy to determine whether or not these things are viable. So the subsidies is the second thing we learned about that first day. And subsidies, if we don't have enough net energy, like I said, we're trying to dig this up out of the ground. But if we can't make enough money at the end, somebody's going to have to help us with the bills. And what subsidies are, subsidies are not just for the energy field. It's for anything that the government or the people in power feel like it's worth it. Okay, it could, like the colleges. You know, you need the colleges. They need the money. They get their money off of tuition, but they also need they have to have books. They have to pay the salaries. The people who are getting scholarships and Pell Grants, that money has to come from somewhere. So as far as people go, okay, the government feels like that the students that are coming out of this college are going to be worth it to the general population later. The people that are coming out of this college are worth investing in. So they will help the college pay some of their bills in order that they can continue putting out good students. That's a subsidy. That has nothing to do with energy or power. Okay, but that's a subsidy. The government feels that the people coming out of this college are worth it, so they pay their bills. And so subsidies are not just for the energy section, but anytime that you have government involved and somebody paying somebody else's bills, the idea of corruption is very, very prevalent, and it is all over this place. People asking for money and getting money for favors from the government. Okay, the lobbyists are the people whose job. Let's say that here's a flag. This is my cause. This is what I want money for. Okay, the lobbyist goes to different branches of the government asking for money to pay their bills. Okay, he presents his cause. I have this, and I want you to help me pay my bills because. Okay, that's a lobbyist, and he goes to the different parts of government trying to get government subsidies. Okay, but what happens because of that is that there is a lot of favoritism. This one is that one's friend. This one is doing favors for this one or that one. This one, there's the corruption is rampant. And what I'm trying to bring in is you guys are this close to running the planet. We are about to hand you the reins. You're about to graduate high school. You've already started voting, most of you, and the planet is about to be yours. Okay, that's why I'm trying to bring this up, not just for my class, not just for the grade, but because you are going to need this when you go to the voting booth every time. It is not just about which president or which senator that you like better than the other ones and you vote this one in and that one out. That's not all that voting is. Voting is about policies and procedures, and what they do is they say, they put this bill up on to vote about, okay, and it's going to give more jobs, it's going to help our debt, it's going to do this sort of that sort of wonderful things, and in the process they slide in something else. When you vote for this wonderful thing, they have attached something else to the bottom that also gets voted in. This is what I'm talking about. And when we get to the natural gas and the fracking, we're going to see exactly what kind of crap they snuck in under this other stuff. All right, so we know that we're running out of oil. So we have 3 choices. Okay, we're running out of oil. We can pay higher prices to keep getting it in, which comes out of our pocket at the gas pump. I don't want to pay it. You don't want to pay it. We could live with higher prices. Or we could extend our oil supplies. And remember that extending the oil supplies means we're digging deeper into the ground to get that heavy oil. Crude oil is the good stuff. Crude oil is the good stuff. That's what they want. It's a medium net energy. But when that starts to run low, they try to get the heavy oil out of the bottoms of the wells, or the tar sands, where you have to pull the sand and dirt off, and then you've got that tar, and then you try to take that tar to the refinery. Okay, so we're running out of oil, so we could either have to pay the higher prices or we have to extend the oil supplies. But the problem with that is, to get the heavy oil and the tar sands is still going to cost us money, because the net energy is so much lower that they need bigger subsidies, and the subsidies come out of our paychecks. So either we live with higher prices and we pay them ourselves, or they extend the oil prices and we still pay for it because we have to pay for the subsidies, or we use other energy sources. And so we're going to get into that in just a second. Let's start with one of the things that we're doing instead of oil right now is the natural gases. Okay, is natural gas a better alternative? Okay, it's a mixture of gases. Most of it's methane, and methane is actually worse for global warming than carbon dioxide is. Methane is horrendous as far as, you remember, greenhouse gases, climate change, all of that stuff. This much methane can do as much damage as this much carbon dioxide. Listen again. I'm talking global warming, icebergs melting, animals going extinct, climate change, droughts, hurricanes, all this stuff. This much methane can cause as much damage as this much carbon dioxide. We always talk about carbon dioxide being so bad for the environment. Methane is actually worse, okay, if it gets out into the atmosphere. All right, so what natural gas is, it is 50 to 9% methane, but it also has other stuff like propane and butane, kerosene in it. So it's mostly methane when we talk about natural gas. It is really, really more plentiful than oil. So if we're talking about just the economics, just the money part, we have enough natural gas that we won't even have to get oil from the Middle East. Once we switch everything away from oil and switch it to natural gas, which it doesn't take much to make it happen. It won't take much to make it happen to switch from oil to natural gas. The mechanisms are very similar. Whatever it is you're running on oil can be just as easily run on natural gas. And the thing about it is we have enough natural gas that we may not even have to get oil from the Middle East. When you put that on a voting ballot, it sounds beautiful. We don't have to rely on foreign oil. We take care of our own business. It is, and the what do you call it? International debt. Okay, the debt for the country would be minimized because most of our debt is buying oil. If we don't need to keep buying oil, we can help our debt, our national debt. And we actually have the capability of selling some of this natural gas. All right, let me get Ashton back in. Let's see, hold on. Got her. Okay. We actually have the possibility of selling some of this natural gas, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, whether it's a good idea or not. But that would also help our national debt. All of that sounds great on a ballot, which is how they trick you. Okay. All of that sounds great. It's very plentiful. We could cover 1/4 of the energy worldwide, okay, and just about everything that we need in the U.S. It's very versatile. You can use it for cooking, heating, industrial processes, motor vehicle fuel. You can run your cars on it. Power for the turbines. It has a medium net energy, which is what we're looking for. There are very few things that have a high net energy, so we make do with medium net energy. That's good enough. And very low production cost, because what we're already doing as far as getting oil out of the ground, we can get natural gas out of the ground. We don't have to change anything. The production is already there in place. It's a clean burning fuel when you compare it to coal. Do you guys know what soot is? Soot. If you're burning a candle, that black stuff that gets on the glass, you guys have seen that? Okay, that black stuff that's called soot. And when you burn coal, okay, you're going to get soot everywhere. When you burn natural gas, you don't. Okay, so it's clean burning when you talk about that, but it's still going to put carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. It's still going to cause global warming when you do burn it, okay? But it doesn't put soot in the air. So if they tell you clean burning, it doesn't mean it's not greenhouse gas. It's still going to put greenhouse gases out there. All right, next one. Now we found where you find the net oil. Where you find the natural gas is directly right above the crude oil. So when you find the oil, the natural gas is like floating right above it. Okay, and then you can extract it through fracking when the oil runs out. Now, here's the thing that's confusing. You guys ready for this part? There are 2 acronyms for you. Is everybody listening? Okay, it's time for another picture because I see a lot of you guys are just going alt print screen. Okay, let me get another picture, guys. And it is 10:10. Sorry, I'm taking time from the video for this, guys, but it has to be done. All right, so there's 3 acronyms that you've got to have, okay? Propane and butane are going to come out of these wells first. There's like three basic kinds. Propane and butane is together called LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, liquefied petroleum gas. And what they do with that, if you've ever seen somebody who lives in the country, and they're not necessarily connected to all the city pipes, the city plumbing, the city heating, the different pipes within the city, they will have in their backyards a big giant metal canister. It looks like a big pill capsule. Okay. And what happens is, like I said, I grew up on a farm and we had one of these. Okay. A big giant, looks like big giant silver pill capsule. A propane truck would come every couple of months or so and fill up this big capsule, this tank. And then the house would use that propane for heating and cooking. For me, when I was a kid, I thought it was a spaceship, a pirate ship, a horse sometimes. Me and the neighborhood kids, we just climbed all over this thing we were playing. Did not have any idea that it was flammable and explodable. Did not know. All right, survived it anyway. All right, but in the country, they give you this. Okay, it's a big giant tank that you can fill with propane. That's what this is, liquid petroleum gas. And that's what they store in these pressurized tanks, and you ship it out to your rural neighborhoods. Okay. The other one is called LNG. Now look at that. That's just crazy. Okay. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. This is the one they give you in the country. LNG, this is methane. Okay, methane, this is the one that they're trying to ship out for export. This is the one we're trying to make money off of. This is the one that we're trying to replace fossil fuels. This is the one trying to, no, not fossil fuels, replace oil. We want to ship this out to reduce the debt. Okay, but to ship this out, okay, liquid methane. It's called liquefied natural gas. Methane is crazy explosive. I mean, the littlest bink and poof, you have an explosion as big as any cool movie you've ever watched. Any of the good movie explosions, it will be that good. Okay, methane explodes really, really easy. It's really, really dangerous. And so if we are trying to ship this out, if we want to put it on a truck to ship it within the country, or we want to put it on a tanker truck, what do they call the ships? Tanker ships. Okay, well, that's easy enough. You want to carry it out on a truck within the country or on a giant ship to go from country to country. Okay, what you have to do, because remember your physical science, methane is a gas. If you want to ship this, you have to put it under so much pressure that it becomes a liquid, and you have to keep it incredibly cold so it doesn't blow up. High pressure, low temperature. Can you imagine how much energy that takes to keep that pressurized so that you can ship it? Because one fluctuation in power and that thing blows up. Your whole tanker ship blows up. You have killed everybody on your ship and anybody who might be nearby. All right. It is incredibly difficult to keep that pressurized, which means then it's going to be expensive, which also means the net energy is low. If it takes that much energy to get it shipped, you're not going to be making that much money on the other end, which means subsidies are going to have to pay to ship this stuff out. So when they tell you that using natural gas as an export will reduce the national debt, sure, it might, but it's going to increase mine because I'm paying for the subsidies. It's going to increase yours because you're paying for the subsidies. When they tell you shipping natural gas is a good thing, it has to be subsidized so highly that, yes, the national debt may go down, but your own personal is going to skyrocket because you're paying for it. That's like having you pay off the national debt. And that's just ridiculous to ask a person to do. All right, so let's look at the next thing. All right. Okay, so which is cleaner? Okay, natural gas is much cleaner than oil. Okay, yes, that's fine. Where do they collect it in the ground? It is right above the oil. And then can it be collected through fracking? Yes, it can. U.S. production and consumption? Okay, we consume both oil and natural gas. We import the oil. We don't have to import natural gas. Can we export? No. Think about ease of transport. Oil is really, really, really easy to ship. That's why we've been getting it in from the Middle East. Oil is really, really easy to ship. This natural gas, not easy. at all to ship, incredibly dangerous. All right. All right. So fracking wells. Okay, we talked about how the fracking works. You dump huge amounts of water, blow it back up with the toxic wastewater is going to pollute the groundwater underneath. Okay, and then you have to transport that natural gas. It has water issues, the polluted wastewater. Okay, let me show you this. Where did my picture go? Okay, this lady, she lives near one of these fracking wells. She turned on her water, lit a match nearby, and the water is on fire. These fracking wells leak. They cause earthquakes. There's methane. They cause water pollution because you are sending water down in this pipe and it's coming back up. Okay, it's getting into the groundwater and they leak all the time. The people in this area already know that they have not been able to drink their water for a long time. They always have to import their water. They can't drink it. But now their houses are burning down because of the leaks from the methane. That's her water faucet. The water is running and it's still on fire. That's how bad explosive methane is. That's why you don't mess around with that stuff. All right, so the advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so you got the water issues, you've got the polluted water, you've got the gas contamination, you've got air pollution, you've got methane emissions, and remember, methane emissions is going to worsen the climate change, and increase in earthquakes because you are actually shaking the ground as you're sending that stuff through. So there are advantages and disadvantages to using methane or natural gas. We got plenty and replace easily the oil. It's very versatile. We get our medium net energy. There's less carbon dioxide emissions than coal. So if we run our power plants on methane instead of coal, then our power plants will pollute less. Okay, but it has a very low net energy for the LNG if we're trying to ship it out. Okay, the production and delivery. Okay, all of that production and delivery is going to release carbon dioxide. You have the methane emissions as well. Increases in earthquake. The fracking pollutes large volumes of water and can pollute all the groundwater. So here's the other thing about it. Because they tell us on the voting ballot that we can decrease we can be self-sufficient. We can decrease our need for foreign oil. They pass all this stuff. The lobbyists, remember I told you the lobbyists who are working within government, they fixed it so that these fracking people don't have to follow the Clean Air Act. They don't have to follow the Clean Water Act. They don't have to follow the Safe Drinking Act, and they don't have to follow the National Environmental Policy Act. They don't have to follow any of the laws that the other companies do. So that they're creating all of this mess, earthquakes, pollution, killing people. This people where this lady lives are dying of cancer, like left and right. And they don't have to follow any laws. And worse, if something is so egregious that you just can't ignore it, the government looks the other way. What? I didn't hear nothing. What? I didn't hear nothing. It's horrible. Okay. So what they have planned is within the next, like this book was written in 2015, but with the next 20 years of that, which is now, they have planned to build 100,000 more of these fracking wells. And so what we need to make sure is that, and again, this is you guys, you're about to run the planet now. You guys are about to run the planet. What you have to be sure is that when they approve these fracking wells, first, you have to follow the same laws as everybody else. If you're making a mess, if you're causing damage, you have to follow the same laws as everybody else. That's easy. Second, you need stricter regulation and monitoring. No more government looking the other way. You need to be monitored when you're doing crap. Third, we need better data on the impacts of the fracking and the gas leaks. We need to know when it's happening and what happens because of it. We need more data on that. And we need to repair the leaks that are now. We have to repair the leaks that are in there. And so they're going to be relying on you guys to do that stuff. Okay. That is the end of our time. Luckily, I got through everything. Hang on, download and stop the video. So you guys are dismissed. I think I've got enough pictures to see who has your attendance.